Hey guys, so it's one of those days where it just feels weird and it's hard to describe, but I just know that there's something in the astrology for this weirdness. So let's check it out together. I know generally, like I said in the past videos, there's still a lot of planets in Aquarius. I want to see specifically though, I haven't been following very closely. I'll just be totally honest, I don't know where the moon is right now. So, we had the new moon in Aquarius a few days ago on the 11th, I believe. Now, currently, we've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets in Aquarius. However, the moon has left Aquarius and, whoops, there's that better. That's probably better. The moon is now in Aries, almost Taurus, actually. So, I mean, that could be a little bit of the weirdness. Moon is kind of, it's almost in detriment in Aries in a way, just because, you know, it's just very restless. It's very volatile. So it's not, the moon likes to be in the signs that are nurturing and, nurturing and stable. So, Cancer, Taurus, water, earth in general. Fire, it feels kind of, it's not, Aries isn't a sign which is very emotionally secure or very nurturing or, stable and warm. Well, it's warm, I guess, but it's more hot than warm. So it's not really, moon is kind of out of place there. So that could be part of it. Let's see, what else? Moon is sextiling the sun, though, so that's harmonious. We've got Mercury Retrograde. Let's see how long. Mercury's been retrograde for a while. I think it's about to station direct, if I'm not mistaken. So let's just go forward a few days. Sun does enter Pisces on February 18th, which is in only 2 days. Let's see. Well, first of all, I mean, having the sun near the end of a sign can create some kind of edginess as well. So, I mean, maybe that could be it. Especially the end of Aquarius is maybe one of the more edgy, has one of the more edgy endings. But the sun isn't even at the last degree yet. It's not at the critical degree quite yet. Tomorrow it will be. Anyway, let's go forward a few days. Okay, here we go. So, February 19th or 21st. February 21st? Yes. February 21st, the Mercury will station direct. So that could be it. Mercury is, even though that's in, 5 days from now, it's close enough that Mercury's already slowing down for sure. Mercury's at 12 degrees right now. So here, just for reference, this is the chart today. And Mercury will station direct on the 21st, but it's only a degree away from where it is right now, so it's getting much slower. Again, just in case you're not aware, when Mercury's traveling its fastest, it can go like 2, I want to say even almost 3 degrees a day. It can definitely travel 2 degrees a day when it's going really quick. But to only go 1 degree over the course of 5 days is very abnormal for Mercury. I guess it's normal in the sense that it happens during, right before or after it stations retrograde or direct. But it's not normal for Mercury, I guess you could say. Whoa. Chip just tried to attack a bird through the window. Chip, are you okay, buddy? He's just disappointed he didn't get the bird. But, okay, yeah, so that could be it. I mean, I'm very ruled by Mercury, so maybe I might feel that more than others, perhaps. So if that's the case, then this tension will be released by the 21st, because not only will Mercury station direct on that date at 11 degrees Aquarius, which happens to trine my rising. Maybe I'm doing a personal reading for myself right now, I don't know. Hopefully I'll say enough that will apply to everyone and be useful to everyone. But also during that date, this could be edginess for everyone in general, because when Mercury, like especially for Mercury ruled people like myself, but also just for anyone, we all experience Mercury retrograde, and so it is generally dysfunctional, but especially when Mercury either stations retrograde or stations direct, it's not only dealing with Mercury retrograde, but it's actually switching directions, and there is something extra dysfunctional about that. So, there can be there can be a literal, a changing of directions of something in your life, or or just the progress in general, just the energy of everything, or the direction of energy, if you want to put it that way. It tends to shift direction. So it's almost like a train, like coming to a stop and then going in a different direction. It doesn't happen right away. It takes, a few days. So, yeah, and it's not always a smooth transition. So that could very well be it. Mercury's already slowing down very much right now and preparing to station direct, which will be generally good. I mean, for most of us, we have Mercury direct in our charts. So, for most of us, Mercury going direct will be welcomed. However, like I said, Mercury stationing direct it's still an adjustment, and that can still be dysfunctional and something to get used to. What else? Also, Mercury is, I was going to say it's conjunct Saturn, but it is 4 degrees away, so it's actually technically closer to Jupiter. It's kind of right in between both of them. So, I mean, that can be sort of intense just because Mercury is a small, fast planet generally, but so that would mean that it affects us more on a personal level and more of our day-to-day lives. However, in this particular retrograde that we're experiencing, it's very close to Jupiter and Saturn, and specifically when it stations direct on the 21st, as you can see in this chart, Mercury is very close to Jupiter and Saturn, and so because of that, this retrograde in particular would touch on very large issues, whether that be in the world or in our personal lives. There's much larger, more long-term issues at play than there might perhaps be in a typical Mercury retrograde. And again, it depends on your personal chart. Are you a Mercury dominant person? Or even if you're not a Mercury dominant person, do you have a lot of planets where the Mercury retrograde is happening? So in this case, Aquarius. Stuff like that will make it more or less intense for you. But just in general, for everyone as a whole, this retrograde period might just be have more implications or be longer lasting just because it is happening near two relatively outer planets, Jupiter and Saturn. So again, that could be more edginess or more just big things happening, large shifts in energy, stuff like that. Also, the ruler of Aquarius, which is the sign where this retrograde is happening, is traditionally, at least, it's Saturn. So that just, I think, adds to the impact of this particular transit and to the significance of it. But anyway, if there is any edginess right now that I or anyone else might be experiencing, and again, I'd say especially for people ruled by Mercury or people with planets in Aquarius, but any edginess that anyone might be experiencing right now should very much be solved or change directions by the 21st, because not only does Mercury go retrograde, like I said, Chip, stop, your tail is hitting my microphone. Not only does Mercury station direct on the 21st, but also right at that same time, the moon will be in Gemini, just crossing the North Node. And I really like that. So for myself personally, but also just in general for everyone, because the moon, so the North Node is one of the more auspicious points of the zodiac, and the nodes, when we talk about the North and South Node, each planet has a North and South Node, but generally when we talk about the North Node or the South Node, we're talking about the lunar nodes. So the moon crossing its own North Node it's definitely one of the more positive, easier aspects to experience, and it is a turning point. So it's interesting that we experienced that on the 20th, 21st of February this year. It occurs at about pretty much almost the exact same time as Mercury stationing direct. So both are very mercurial, because one is literally dealing with Mercury, and then the other is the moon crossing the North Node, which is happening in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. So both are very mercurial, and both are a turning point. So what that means is around the 21st, I guess, it's hard to say because it's different for everyone, but just as a whole, we might change it's very logical. It very much has to do with your thinking patterns, or your socializing, your communicating, how you think or how you are learning, or it very much affects our day-to-day lives and the rhythm of it. These are all just things that Mercury and or air sort of have to do with. So this is where you could look for changes on the 21st. And again, I do think that it is mostly positive, just in the sense that we might experience some edginess leading up to that between, I'm making this video on the 16th of February. So there could be some edginess or disruption or, overload of mental energy, or what else? Restlessness, all that stuff, which comes from, Mercury transits, too much air, stuff like that. That busyness and restlessness and overstimulation of the mind, that will sort of ease on the 21st. And just the pace of the day-to-day lives we should have more momentum in those areas, but more smooth momentum. So maybe more things happening in this. I don't want to say more things happening, that's so vague, but maybe more progress or getting more things done, but in a linear, smooth way where we don't have this, scattered overstimulation of the mind like we might right now. I guess that's how I see it. Yes, there is a huge mercurial focus with, whenever we have a planet station direct, it's extra potent, and that might be what we're experiencing now already. So yes, there is a boost of Mercury energy, especially because the moon is in a Mercury ruled sign. However, because Mercury is stationing direct and the moon crosses over the north node, right on or after the 21st, there should be pretty much an increasing buildup of edginess leading up to that. But then on the 21st, something shifts, there's a transition, and things become much smoother. There's much more flow, if that makes sense. And then going on after that, on late on the 21st or early on the 22nd, moon enters Cancer. And then we've got Mercury slowly, very slowly starting to gain momentum at 11 degrees Aquarius. It stays at 11 degrees Aquarius for several days, but then eventually it will start gaining momentum and go forward through Aquarius. So yeah, definitely a transition point, and I didn't realize that before making this video, but looks like the 21st is a significant day for sure. Again, just because of Mercury stationing direct and the moon crossing the north node in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. What else? And then a couple days after that, you have Venus entering Pisces, so that would be much more significant for people, Taurus doms or Libra doms, people with Venus ruled charts. If Venus is your chart ruler, you might experience a very literal transition on the 25th. I think it depends on your astrology, but I think generally it would be a good transition just because Venus likes to be in Pisces. Venus is exalted there. It's much stronger and more natural there than Aquarius. So that would be a positive transition as well. And as much as I like all this Aquarius energy, because I personally have a subjective a positive subjective disposition towards Aquarius. I like Aquarius. I like Uranus. Don't take that the wrong way. Hopefully there's astrologers here that don't make Uranus jokes. But yeah, I like those transits because I like the change and the electricity of it, and I like the groundbreaking, the new ideas and the new consciousness. I like all that. However, I can't say I'm not totally looking forward to Venus entering Pisces and planets entering Pisces in general, just because it's intense this chart looks more relaxed, I guess, than the chart we have today. So let's go back to today just for reference. As much as I like Aquarius, and I like the energies and the themes there, the quirkiness, the unpredictability. I like all that. I like the learning new concepts and everything. But having this many planets there is intense. I think that's part of the intensity that's going on now too. And I recognized that before, that it can be extremely powerful for sure having a bunch of planets there, whether it's in your natal chart or like here we're experiencing it in the transiting. That can be very powerful, and it can be key to really making a big change in your life or in the world. It can be extremely positive in that aspect, but at the same time, you have so much energy just in one area that it's very intense, it's very heavy and focused. And so just going forward to 18th the Sun enters Aquarius, and then 25th Venus will enter Aquarius, it just looks much more relaxed. We've only got 3 planets in Pisces, 3 planets in Aquarius. Also, in this particular chart, by the 26th, we'll have, Neptune, of course, is in Pisces, like it's been there for years, obviously. But it's in domicile in Pisces. It likes being there. The Sun isn't too thrilled about being in Pisces, but it's not the worst placement in the world for it. And then Venus is exalted. So, and then you've got, I think Jupiter and Mercury are pretty decent. They do pretty well in Aquarius, and Saturn's in domicile in Aquarius. So this chart I actually like, even though I personally favor Aquarius over Pisces just because of my own astrology and my own, subjective disposition. I think this chart will actually be really nice for everyone, including myself, just because, the planets as a whole are pretty happy in those signs, if you want to think about it that way. Like, they do pretty well in the signs that they're at overall. And you don't have such a big build-up. So I guess just to conclude this, my point is right now on the 16th of February, 2021, things are a little bit intense. There's some edginess. There's a lot of mental energy. However, we'll have a transition on the 21st, and then after that, I see a lot more smooth energy, especially going toward the full moon. The Virgo full moon can be a weird one for sure, with that Pisces Virgo axis getting highlighted, and that's kind of a whole nother topic that I can talk about later. But by then, for sure, I see things overall being more smooth, and maybe just less intense in general, more forward moving. We won't have this Mercury retrograde. Actually, all the planets will be direct. Now that I just noticed that. So once Mercury goes direct on the 21st, all the planets will be direct. So, and we won't have this buildup in one sign as much. So that looks really nice. I mean, it looks like we're entering a time of relative peace. I mean, we're in a larger time of instability, of course, and I don't need to tell you that. We all know that. However, just relative to the time that we're in, we are entering a phase which appears to me to be more smooth and more forward moving, where we have, that momentum and that smoothness. It looks like it'll get easier. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.